right, welcome back to All Hitches, America's #1 football podcast. Coach Mesa, how's it going today, buddy?
That's going. It's rainy outside. It's rainy, but it's not cool. Like I want fall rain. Like I want some cool weather out there. I don't want this warm rain is not too groovy. It's not the bee's knees for me.
No, it's not the bee's knees. And what it also is an inconvenience to all those coaches out there and all those kids out there with the brand new cleats and getting their credit, and all the parents out there too, especially if you coach, or if you're picking up younger kids and you got to pick up your freshmen or your kid from youth league football and they're just messing your car up. That's the worst. It's the absolute worst.
Yeah. Hey, I saw something on TV. They have this like concert of like this really famous rock station that used to be out here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Were you do you know remember which one it was? And were you a listener? Were you a listener to that station?
So HF Festival and WHFS. It was it bounced around dials. It was 99.1 for during the 90s.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I went to that concert like almost every year in high school.
Yeah. Well,
and it's some good bands. They said some good bands played there too.
Well, it's it's a defunct radio station though, right? Like they still have the festival, but the radio station is like not there anymore.
I don't know how I saw that. It was going around Facebook, and yeah, they're going to bring it back. But how do you bring it back if the station doesn't exist? I don't know how they're going to do that. But they had some. I think I remember one year, like sophomore, junior year of high school, we went to it. It was at RFK Stadium. And every Green Day, Beastie Boys, Run DMC. But you can go just on and on and on. I mean, just Hall of Fame band after Hall of Fame band.
Yeah. DC radio is pretty, because Howard Stern, right? Howard Stern was big out here before he went to New York. Like DC radio is pretty influential out here, right? The music scene.
Howard Stern was DC 101. Then he went out to New York and stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Don and Mike were big. A lot of these guys always end in, kind of bad ways, right? They get fired for saying something stupid.
Yeah. What I thought was really cool about radio out here is, being a kid who graduated in the 90s, in the 80s, on BET, Donnie Simpson used to post Video Soul. And I came out here, and one of the first times I turned the radio, it was Donnie Simpson. I was like, no way! Donnie Simpson is a DJ out here? That was pretty cool.
Donnie Simpson, Larry King was out here, had ties to this area. There were some big names. Well, you know what? It's this great mid-Atlantic dialect we had, buddy.
Yeah. What do I know about the entertainment business?
That's right.
California.
You don't know anything about this mid-Atlantic dialect. You don't know anything about that. You got the surfer guy dialect out there.
I don't know. What's that Long Beach? Not a lot of surfer guys in my neighborhood.
No. I saw Point Break. I saw Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I was not going for the Palisades. I'll tell you that much. Little buddy, part of California.
Look, I was thinking about the rain today. You talk about the rain, and I was thinking about football, and this. Now I don't know if they're calling for rain on Friday night, which is good for everybody for the most part, I would imagine, except for a couple of teams that just want to ground and pound all day long. But weather has not been an issue yet, and it hasn't been an issue in months, to be honest with you.
Well, and with everyone playing with a turf field, even though it might rain all week, it's not going to make a difference. It's not like going to be the old times where I'm sure like when you were at good old before it was back when it was still WTW. I'm sure when it rained that field probably just got beat to hell. It was probably just a marsh in that thing.
That field was still grass the last time Woodson went to the second to last time Woodson went to the region title game, because they went against Freedom in 18, but in 09 when Coach Taylor was coaching there, and it was a mud pit for that game.
Yeah.
09, it was a mud pit.
That's when you break up the 4-inch spikes on those things and to try to keep yourself upright. So, but luckily with the turf stuff now, you don't have to worry about that. It drains and you can keep on playing clean football, right?
Yeah. I mean that's the beauty of it now, and no more rubber pellets. Now you got the wood, you got the cork, and the olive pits. They say olive pits.
fine cedar wood in there. I think
That's right.
very has an oaky smell to it.
Yeah, like Corinthian leather, kind of.
Yeah,
Well, buddy, here we are. The fantastic, fabulous week 4 is upon us.
yeah. Big games this week, right? I mean, this is a lot of people. We're going to find out exactly how good you are. How good are you, right?
That's
I mean,
right.
this is there's some games where there's some teams who've been playing pretty well, with quite a couple undefeated matchups going on. Quite a few teams who need a win.
Yep.
Who came into the season with some pretty big expectations, and now all of a sudden they're looking down the barrel and being like, "Man, we may have to play the whole playoffs as road warriors this year."
Yep. Yeah, I mean it really is. It's going to be, I want to see how tough you really are, you and me, Bender, this week, because this is the week. This is the week. Looking at this matchup, I'm seeing a whole slew of 1 and 2 teams, that are fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah,
good
yeah.
teams that could be fighting. That 3 weeks ago we might have been 3-0 if we would have predicted it.
Yeah, Well, and football, unlike the other sports, there's 8 slots.
I know.
Everyone makes, everywhere else, right? Every team makes a playoffs. Everyone gets a chance, regardless of how bad your season is. And we last spring we saw some teams that did not have great regular seasons all of a sudden get red hot and just start blowing through the playoffs.
Yep.
In football, there are 8 slots, and if you're not good old musical chairs. If you don't have a chair when the music ends, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how hot you are at the very end. I mean, think about Marshall, right? Marshall started getting piping hot at the very end, but because they started off kind of tough, they couldn't get in the dance, which didn't matter how hot they were. They were kind of left holding the bag.
Why are you saying Marshall, buddy? Why are you saying Marshall?
Because Marshall played really well at the very end.
Do you know something that I already know? Certain team that I'm excited about today, and you're giving it away.
Can you name another team that was red hot at the end of the season and didn't make the playoffs?
Not like that. They were red hot.
Not like that.
And that continued all the way through. Anybody who's watching, and if your team is struggling in about 4 or 5 weeks, and you think you got nothing to play for, you look at a team like Marshall, ended the year off on a hot streak, and I can't wait. We got to start talking about these games, buddy. I'm ready to go right now. I'm ready.
Let's go. Yeah.
I'm so juiced.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna talk about it right now. We got it's been the Fab Five for a minute, right? We've been calling it the Fab Five, but you and I, we are the kings of our domain, and this is going to be the sensational 6 today. There's so many good games. We had to rename the damn thing.
We could have named this. We could have named it the Sinister Six in honor of good old Spider-Man. And the Sinister Six.
I thought you were going to say.
I guess
Sinestro.
No, remember the Sinister Six with all of his main bad guys, right? You had Electro, Scorpion, Doc Ock, right? Sandman. Right. But no, I think Sensational. This is more sensational than Sinister. But it could be sensational matchup. It could be Sinister if you lose, right? It could be the Sinister Six if you end up on the bad end of this.
Well, let's start right now and get to it. Let's go Fairfax at SoCo, brother. What do we got there? That's a hell of a matchup.
Yeah, I mean, with South County come off a big win. I mean, they pretty much dominated that second half of the game against West Springfield. I mean, I think 28 unanswered points by South County, and my understanding is, according to the Adam Schefter of Northern Virginia, Carl Frederick, saying that they're missing 10 starters on that.
Wow.
On that.
So
you have that. Yeah. So 1, you have that. 2, another storyline is those games were both blowouts, not by the same team last year. I'm sure South County has a really bad taste in their mouth last time they saw Fairfax. South County was looking to get to a region title game, and then here comes out of nowhere a team they dominated in Fairfax.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big one. I believe South County is 2-1 and Fairfax is 2-1. They're both 2-1, and so then you have in the standings you're going to have essentially a 2-game lead whoever wins that, because you have the win against them and you're a game up on them. You have 2 coaches who know each other pretty well. They both coached under each other, and been the head coach of each one, right? I mean, they've both been on each other's staffs in both capacities, right? One was a head coach, one was assistant, one was assistant, one was a head coach. You know, one put the peanut butter in his chocolate, one put the chocolate in his peanut butter.
That,
you know,
I mean, that's what it is. There's so
mean,
many ties.
So many. I mean, that game, you could go from any angle for that game, and it would be pretty big. And two of our. So how about this? A highlight of the week winner at Fairfax. We'll see if Ethan Lynch plays this week against a three-headed player of the week in South County.
Yeah. No, that's. I mean, Fairfax is bringing the big boys, right? They're bringing the two tough runners. They're bringing Maltese M&M, we call them, right? Who doesn't like a delicious green M&Ms? Because you remember green M&Ms are for the home run. Green M&Ms, right? Maltese and Moman, those guys are freaking not Thunder and Lightning. It's Thunder and Thunder with those two guys. And you got Maltese and Moman. You got the big linemen. You got Tolson and Gerald Martin, who they call Latimer. I mean, that's just some animals on the D line. But I mean, you were talking about it last week. You were at the game last week. SoCo's D line is second to none.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good, and it just that game has so much riding on it.
Yeah,
and not to jump the gun, but South County doesn't want to. They have a gigantic game coming up next week, and I'm sure they do not want to go into that game kind of limping, to a lot. I mean, just there's a lot riding on this game. I mean, you don't want to say that this game is huge on a week 3 game,
right?
Or a week 4 game, but it is, right. I mean, there's a lot riding on this.
And you're right. If you bring up a good point as far as looking forward, right? And you don't want to get caught looking forward and looking ahead at the next game, which would be, I mean, an understandable thing to do, with such a big game next week. I mean, the Washington Post called it one of the games of the year coming up, and we're referring to the Hayfield South County game next week. But you got a freaking heavyweight opponent right in front of you, and you can't get your eyes off that. And I mean, and one guy we didn't mention, we mentioned him 2 weeks ago. We didn't mention him last week, and he had a big game at the game you were at Springfield. Was Travion Campbell, the receiver.
Yeah. I think just looking at it, I mean, we probably could have gone forward. We could have made it a fantastic 4 from South County. We could have.
I think I predicted that last week. I think I predicted that Travion Campbell was going to.
I can't look.
I said, watch out for the South County. I said, watch out for the South County passing attack with. And look at that. When I bought that thing, my wife told me my head was too big for it, and my head is too big. I got a melon head. So, but Orth is playing extremely well right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Maleki's playing well. Karoma, the running back, is freaking starting to run hard. This is the battle of freaking. This is like Thunder. We said Thunder, and this is Allstott and freaking Pittman. Remember Michael Pittman over in Tampa?
Yeah.
Allstott and Pittman versus Christian Okoye. I mean, we got a lot of big running backs here. So
yeah.
So what I'm going to say is, who steps up outside of that offensively, right? Do we see the Fairfax senior quarterback? Does he kind of step up, Murad? Or do you see does Tyler Orr, the playmaker, Slash, as you call him, does he step up? Someone's going to have to step up, because both defenses are probably be just trying to shut down that run.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be a pretty exciting matchup.
Yeah, can't wait for that one. Can't wait. Fairfax SoCo, classic. All right. I've been talking about this one, buddy. I've been talking about this one. Chantilly Hayfield. The Overtons will be introduced to a Concord team for the first time this season. And they did a good job preparing for their Patriot team in week 1. But, I've said it before, the Concord teams, the SEC of Northern Virginia. All right. What are your thoughts on that, buddy? What are your thoughts there?
So, I mean, we'll get into my top 10, but, Hayfield is really, really good. And I think this is a chance for Mantry is looking to kind of make his mark. I know he has some pretty lofty goals and where he wants to play. I think this is a chance to see some legit competition, some Division I guys on the other side. I think this will be pretty good. But he's got Ian Hall. I think on the D line. I mean that kid defensively is a terror. He's the real deal. And so that I don't see his pocket being great all night long, just because of the talent they have on the defensive side and their ability to play coverage on the back end. The other coach, I don't want to call him the other coach Overton. I'll call him Jo. I guess I'll call him Jo. Call him Jo because the other one's Do. He's really aggressive on with his play calling. When we watched him against West Springfield, it looked to me like he likes to make it so that way that the quarterback is not comfortable at all. That the last thing you want to do is have a quarterback who kind of throw in rhythm. And it seems like he gets really aggressive with it. And, this will be their chance, So Manchu's going to need his guys to win their battles for sure. He's going to need those receivers to win the battle.
The great Al Davis, right? You hit the quarterback early, right? Quarterback must go down, and he must go down high. Right? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't care who you are, right? You're Tom Brady. You ain't playing well when Strahan and Tucker are knocking you on the ground every other play, right? Yeah. So I got you. I do think I watched Chantilly last week, and gets a good McLean team, right? And we talked about that Liberty Conference is full of just solid teams. Late in that game, and when they had to ice it, right? They went to the running game, right? Yeah. And let's see, keep an eye on that, right? Quarterback's best friend, right? Good defense and a good running game. So let's see, if Chantilly can lean on that running game, a little bit, and that's going to help Mantry a lot in that game.
Yeah, and he's going to need his defense to help him out because they're going to have to get stops, and getting stops against that Hayfield attack, between French or Dennis and Overton. I mean, that to go along with the other weapons they have on that offense. Yeah. But just trying to contain those guys right there is a pretty tall task. And
it's the greatest show on turf. We said
it is. They are really talented on their offensive side. So what does Chantilly have for Hayfield defensively? That's another large question. I saw talking about what the West last time I saw him play. I didn't watch the play Annandale. I didn't watch very much of that film. But it looked like eventually head coach Overton on the offensive side figured out what West Springfield was kind of doing and just kept on hitting them small. They're going to take away my deep stuff. Okay, then I'm just going to keep on dunking you down the field and force you to come up or give you the death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Right.
So, I mean, what do you do? I mean, luckily for me, I don't have to figure that out. I know if I was trying to figure that out, I would probably, be staying up late nights trying to figure out what to do with it. But, what are you going to do against them offensively? Because they're really talented. They're really talented. And what do you have for them?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. We got 2-0 teams going at it, right? Well, actually, Chantilly's 3-0, right? They haven't had a bye yet.
Yeah.
They haven't had a bye yet. But so, I mean, 2 undefeated teams going at it. And only one will walk away with the loss in the loss column. So interesting to see what happens there.
What's the line from Highlander? Only one will survive. God, what was the name? What was the line from Highlander?
Highlander, man.
Highlander. You remember Highlander?
Yeah, I remember. But I'm a movie quote guy, but I don't know a lot of Highlander quotes. Wasn't there a show on TV, the Highlander show? Antonio
Sabat? There was. Yeah. I don't think it was.
Was that Kevin Sorbo? Was that Kevin Sorbo?
It was not. Kevin Sorbo was on Hercules.
Oh, Hercules. Yeah. All right, buddy. You find that Highlander line.
I am trying to find that right now
because it's probably gonna go well with this next matchup.
There can only be one.
Well, there can only be one, buddy, and
there can only be one.
That pertains to this game I'm about to talk about right now.
Okay.
All right. And I think you said it best. Marshall's been just beating the crap out of people in the saloon. They're throwing dudes up against the wall, taking people's lunch money. And like you said, the saloon door kicked open. And here came the baddest man in the whole damn town. Madison just walked in. Marshall looks over at Madison. Madison looks over at Marshall. Everyone clears out and gets under the tables.
Yeah.
What's going to happen, buddy? Talk about it. You've been thinking about this one for 3 days. Talk about it.
So I think Madison might be one of the best defenses I've seen yet. I've watched a whole lot of football, more than I think I want to watch football sometimes. Their defense, they're so good. They're so good defensively. And the level of competition they've been playing for the last few weeks. They went to Battlefield for a scrimmage. They went to they were home for Stonebridge. They played Braddock. They have played some really top-notch talent.
Yeah.
So they are primed and ready to go. They have not been playing anybody. Now Marshall's been beaten up on some teams. But just they're so good defensively. But let me say this. They run an offense that sometimes can take away your aggression. They're running a triple, right? You're running midline, you're running veer, you're running counter options. So there's someone who is always unblocked. And coaching defensively, you have to tell that guy, all right, when you're unblocked, this is your job. This is who you have. Whether you're on the dive, whether you're on the pitch, whether you're on the quarterback, because everybody else can kind of play off you. And if that one guy does not play his job, the unblocked guy, then everybody else gets hung out to dry. And I've seen really fast defenses have real huge problems with it. So on a not to be disrespectful, but on a very higher level, I was at the game when Pauly played, Long Beach Pauly played Concord De La Salle in what was called the game of the century, right? You had on Pauly, you had multiple All-Americans, Concord De La Salle, and I think they were at, I don't know, maybe they're that 8 or 9 year undefeated streak, right. And they ran the veer. And it really took away some of their Mercedes Lewis they moved Mercedes Lewis to defensive end for that game. So, Mercedes Lewis what's he on a 15-year now NFL career.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So, they're loaded defensively, but they're running the option, and it really slows you down because the guy who's on block now has to make sure he does the right thing and does not try to overplay it. So with Marshall running the kind of offense they did, that may slow down some of Madison's aggression. That being so, on the flip side of that also is can they other guys block Madison up front? Because if they can't, they're going to have a lot of issues. On the flip side, Marshall has not seen anybody close to it, and there aren't very many people to see like this of Dominic Nicely. Dominic Nicely up for probably definitely a Player of the Year candidate, not only for Virginia, which is okay, but Player of the Year candidate for the All Hitches podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
much. Much more coveted, I would say.
Much more coveted.
Like you can go to the ESPN awards and win those awards there. You can win the Doak Walker, but you want the Heisman, right? You want the. They haven't seen anybody as explosive as him. Now, no disrespect to the teams they played, but I think the first time you see him live, it's going to take you a minute to adjust. I can think about. So I'll talk about when I coached before. So we were playing Pauly. I was at my alma mater in Long Beach, and we were playing Pauly, and Deshaun Jackson was on the other side. And our guys had seen there's guys who had played against him with him, and the first time they saw him, they were like, it looks like he's running at warp speed because you can't simulate that in practice. You can't simulate Dominic Nicely in practice. You just can't. I mean, no disrespect to their guys, but Dominic Nicely is a Division I talent who is really good, and you're not going to know how your kids are going to react until you actually see him on the field. So I think that's another thing. Another thing with Marshall is that being able to adjust that.
Well, I mean, look, highlight player of the week, right? The highlight of the week winner was Carter Okatunji, and I'll tell you what. I mean, the Dominic Nicely. Where he looked like looked like Kansas Comet in that run.
Yeah,
man. I mean, that was amazing. But don't take anything away from Carter Okatunji and all the studs over at Marshall that are averaging about 60 points a game right now.
Yeah.
So, it's an intriguing matchup, right? And the one thing about with what Coach is doing over there at Marshall, they're tough. It's not a soft team.
No,
a tough team. We've seen high scoring offenses, right? That were, high scoring, prolific, that were kind of soft, right? A little more finesse, right? A little more finesse. This is not that, right? Yeah. So I think Madison's not going to be able to come in there and kind of bully their way through the way they do with some other opponents,
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So now that goes, like you said, that's vice versa though. That's also vice versa, right? Marshall's not going to be able to come in there and bully them the way they bullied some other opponents. So it could come down to sparring partners. We talk about boxing all the time, right?
Yeah.
And if this is a big heavyweight fight and their last 3 matches are all, who are your sparring partners? Well, to your point, Madison had what'd you say? Freaking
Battlefield, Stonebridge, and
Stonebridge.
Braddock.
They brought in Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Riddick Bowe for their sparring partners. But Marshall maybe didn't bring in that level of fighter for the sparring partner. That could come down to this. That could be a big difference here, right?
Yeah.
But I have a feeling, and we're going to talk about upsets of the week. Upsets of the week, buddy. And I love a good upset. We're going to be talking about it. And then we could be talking about Marshall again later on tonight. Let me just give you a little taste of that one right there.
That's what they call a tease.
Tease. It's a tease. All right. I can't wait for that one. And by the way, a couple of guys to highlight. We talked about Okatunji on Marshall. Madison. We can't think of Madison's defense. The 11 angry men, right? I mean, you got to highlight all of them. We just got to talk about. We got to start naming all the guys in their defense. So Madison coaches, send us that roster of your entire defense, and then you got Yates. Got a great running back and nicely, but Yates at quarterback is really. I mean, and that name's royalty over there, buddy. That name is royalty at Madison. All right, moving on. Ooh, I like this one. This game is so tough. So tough. They couldn't do it. A Friday night couldn't contain it. They had to put it on a Saturday. They had to give its own stage on Saturday. We got W&L Yorktown. The Battle of Arlington, my friend.
Yeah.
Undefeated. Again, Marshall Madison undefeated as well. Undefeated W&L, undefeated Yorktown. Talk about it.
So, I mean, rivalry game, right? What do they say about the rivalry games? What do you do with the records? Throw them out.
Awesome.
Throw out the records. So let's just talk about the teams and then talk about another giant storyline with this, right? 2 undefeated teams. W&L look, burying teams. Yorktown kind of plotting along like they've been doing. You have 2 3-0 teams who are also trying to jockey for a position in the playoffs and for district titles. I mean, how are they going to do that? This is a huge game for them record wise. You have two contrasting styles, right? You have the wing T offense at Yorktown. You have more of the spread no huddle offense over at W&L. I know that the OC over at W&L has been getting a lot of praise over there too, right? For what he's able to do.
A lot of praise.
You have the explosiveness of W&L and the steady ground game at Yorktown. And how big would it be for Coach Hansen to get win number 300?
Oh man,
against W&L. I mean, wow, 300 wins, and I don't know where to find all-time win records over here. I've been trying to figure out where you find that information.
He's about to pass George Hallis. I mean, that's ridiculous. 300 wins. I was talking to someone today at work today about this. If you just go 10-0 for 30 years, 10-0. I mean, obviously you'd have playoff games too. But if you went 10-0 and then lost in the first round of the playoffs every year, it would take you 30 years of going undefeated, Coach.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. I wonder how many schools have 300 wins.
Right.
How many schools have 300 wins? How many schools that schools around since the 60s maybe, but how many schools that have been around since, we'll say, so he started coaching there in 85. So let's go back 5 years. Schools that have been around
only 85.
85. Let me
that right?
Let me
Now I shouldn't say only 85 because now we're not young anymore. We're not as young as springtime anymore, but I feel like 300 wins, 85. It makes it even more amazing.
1985.
It makes it even more amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, for that, I mean, he's done really well. I mean, and they had only made the playoff twice before Bruce Hansen arrived.
Wow.
They made it in 76 and 67.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I
Absolutely.
mean, I mean, it's pretty incredible. I mean, what he's been able to do there. I mean, hats off to him, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, when's the next time some guy's going? So 85 is what we're looking at. 40 years.
Yeah.
40
Wow.
years next year. I
Wow.
mean, yeah, 40 years. Think about what you were doing 40 years ago. 40 years ago. I was being in the fifth grade doing.
I mean, watching Back to the Future or something. I don't
Now
know.
I'm curious. I'm curious. So
That's crazy.
we haven't. We plan on doing a feature on Coach Hansen. So you and I you talked about a little bit last time. How many games? How many? You're waiting for the first time you're going to get a kid of a former student. How many grandkids of former students do you think he's had of
Oh,
former
yeah.
players? Yeah.
Especially in Arlington, right, where people kind of tend to go back to, and you
Right.
have kids go back to those schools, and when they get older, buy a house there and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If they're lucky enough to fall into a gazillion dollars, and North Arlington, but it's amazing. It's an amazing story, and we hope to reach out to Coach Hansen and the Yorktown staff. Maybe after that milestone is hit. So, that's an amazing story. Now we say after that milestone is hit because there's a team standing in that way, buddy. There's a team, WNL, and that would be Coach Bobby Ludwig, the OC. And I'll tell you what, the amount of coaches who I've talked to who are high on Coach Ludwig. I mean, that's the guy. That's going to be the hot name in the offseason for bringing in. If you want to interview for a head coach, Ludwig's going to be a name. We'll see what happens there with some of these hires and what schools are hiring and that kind of thing. But keep an eye on Coach Ludwig. If I was a GM, I'd be bringing him in for an interview.
Yeah, well, last year it was a 3-point game last year between them. So after and the two for that they were 27-0, 23-9, and then actually they had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-game winning streak against WNL until last year's loss. Yeah, some close games in there here and there. So I think that and Yorktown's dominated that for a while. So I'm sure you're. I mean, we talked about a prove it year, right? And so this is very much like a prove it kind of year, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a WNL and you're a WL fan, I mean, you got to be saying, hey, much like Sean Astin said, many moons ago in '85, it's their time. It's their time. Here. It was Yorktown's time back there. Now it's WNL's time. They did it. They did it last time.
Yeah.
Did it last year. No respect. You don't want to give us any respect. Fine. We're going to do it with a brand new quarterback. That quarterback last year, Bajwani, he tore it up. And everyone said it. And I think we said it. We didn't make any predictions, but we did question. If you go back to our August show, talking to people and stuff, people around the region were kind of like, well, they're losing a lot of guys. They're losing that quarterback that kind of, everything ran through him. Okay, no problem. We're just going to get another guy up, coach that guy up, and do it all over again. It's impressive stuff from WNL that we're seeing.
And how big is it for you, WNL, to make him wait for win number 300?
Oh man, that's right. You're not doing. You had a lot of those wins on our watch. Ain't happening this time, right?
Yeah.
That's a fun one. So that's a Saturday game. I think they said 1:00, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday. We got a message from the Yorktown guys. Let me just make sure I get it right. Yep, Saturday at 1:00 for those who are interested in going out to Yorktown, maybe get some good Peruvian chicken and head down watching some good football. Some of the best Peruvian chicken out there in Arlington. All right, man, it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, the slate is unbelievable this week.
It is. Yeah,
unbelievable. All right, and I love this one. A game of the week contender right here, buddy. West Springfield, Oakton. Ooh, what do you think?
You're an Oakton guy, aren't you?
Look, I'm a Slay guy. I believe in Slay, right?
Yeah.
Believe in Slay. And I mean, after what I saw the Fairfax game was he planted that flag and said, trust in me, guys, get behind me. I'm going to lead you the right way, and they did, and they put a pretty good beating on Woodson last week, and here they are though. We talk about the saloon doors opening up, right? West Springfield, is this an 0-2 West Springfield team?
0-2 West Springfield. I mean, this is
they're coming 0-2, and we know with the weapons they have with Walrath and White, and you love the 1-2 punch though. You love the other running back too.
Yeah, Davies.
Yeah, you love Davies.
Davies really good. I know that they're one of their top safeties too. Last week was out. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Number one, he was out. I think some kind of hamstring thing going on. Was my understanding. Last year it was only 17-0 at the half again with Oakton and West Springfield. But we talked. West Springfield is also in another one of the games where like they do not want to fall to 0-3, especially they already have a loss to South County.
Right.
They don't want to fall to 0-3 and be staring up at South County, staring up at Fairfax, staring up at Braddock, staring at West Potomac. I mean, they don't want to be looking that way. Again, 8 slots. Right. There are 8 slots, and they don't want to have to go on the road during the playoffs. I'm not saying they can't, but I'm saying you ideally don't want to at least be in the first round. You want to have at least one home game, and looking up at 0-3 can make things really difficult for you. Yeah.
I mean that's fighting for. I don't want to say their playoff lives yet. Definitely fighting for major playoff seeding, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Oakton right now, I almost feel, I don't want to say because they're building something, and he's got visions, right? Talking to Slay, he said it's just the beginning. They're building something over there, and I get it. But speaking at it, kind of objectively from our point of view, right? Kind of analyzing stuff, they're playing with house money now, right? I mean, no one thought they'd beat Fairfax,
no,
and they did, and nobody thought they'd beat Woodson in the manner that they did, and they did. So I mean, here they are now, and they got a little mojo. And let's see what happens. This, we talk about upset specials.
Yeah.
I think people will still call it an upset. I think Oakton's still the underdog when they go into a lot of these games. Now you could argue whether they should be or not. That's an argument, but I think they still will be. So if I'm Coach Slay, I'm riding that all the way. We're the dogs. Let's prove ourselves.
Yeah, not just that though, but like with the momentum, you don't want to lose that, right? You don't want to lose this momentum. I mean, 3-1, that means you got a really good shot at the playoffs.
Yes,
you've got a really good shot at the playoffs, and to go from 1-9 to a playoff team in 1 year with a really young team. I mean, you don't want to have someone kind of second guess your win against Fairfax. That that it was a down Woodson team, and then you lose West Springfield, and now all of a sudden. I think early on with a program like that, sometimes your psyche can be rather fragile. Yeah. So you really want to get, and although these young kids don't know any better, right? Sometimes they don't know any better, so they're swinging for the fences and they're hitting home runs, and they're kind of happy with it. Right,
it's true. Jack Martin, Dalen Jones,
they were on a really good freshman team, right? A freshman team that I think won 8-2 or something like that, something ridiculous like that. So all they know is how to win, right?
Yep. Let's see what happens here. That's gonna be another fun one. That might be worthy of stopping by Santini's and getting a hoagie or something.
Yeah,
Santini's, if you're listening, free hoagies. All right. and how about
a hoagie named after No Huddle podcast? No Huddle hoagie.
Yes, I've always wanted my own sandwich. Damn it, I've always wanted my own sandwich. All right.
How about this? And it comes with a half and half curly fried steak fry.
Yes, it does.
I'll take. You're not even the hoagie, right? How about the no huddle French fry, which is half and half?
It'd be the number one selling French fry, guaranteed. If someone could go in there and get a half curly fry, half steak fry, number one seller. Who else agrees with that out there? If you think that would be the number one, you could have half curly fries, half steak fries. Oh man, the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to go take my my rovastatin after this podcast. But
what's rovastatin?
No, it's a cholesterol joke.
Oh, it's just rovastatin. It's just all right.
All right, so they don't end. The great games do not end. So we got Lake Braddock don't want to say must win, but it's kind of like the West Springfield game where it's please win, right? They got to feel that way versus West Potomac. Talk about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you don't want to call things this early in the season a must win, but man, they're reeling a little bit. I think, I think they're trying to get a footing. I have a ton of respect for that coaching staff. I have a ton of respect for all those players. I think they're really talented, but I think like I talked about in the highlights that we did last week, they were in control of that game. They were getting ready to put them away, and to have it just kind of slip through your hands in a matter of 5 minutes just has to be, it's got to be maddening. It's got to be absolutely maddening for them, and I think if you ask the coaches, they would think so. We are too talented to be where we're at right now. I think that they just they were 9 minutes away from putting that game away, salting away, being 2-1, and just kind of carrying on. So I think that, once again, I don't want to call it a must win, but I think definitely, they're starting to feel a little bit of pressure now. Last year they beat West Potomac pretty soundly. Now,
Right.
oddly enough, on the flip side, after a really close win against a Westfield team. But I think you talk about sparring partners. Braddock has not been playing, has not been playing a bunch of chumps. I mean, they haven't,
Right.
they haven't been playing a bunch of weak teams. That they're not sparring against someone who's really frail teams. They've been going against a really tough team, and now they got West Potomac, and I think I like West Potomac. I like that quarterback. I like that receiver that they have. But we'll see. We'll see. And West Potomac is kind of riding high a little bit after winning at Centerville last week. So I mean, we'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I think like we said, the coaching staff of Lake Braddock is a phenomenal coaching staff. I love the things they do there. I wonder if this is an argument for, I don't want to say an easy, because when you're picking your schedules out, right? Like they decided to go with, Braddock said bring it on, right? When Braddock built their schedule, and I respect the heck out of that. Bring it on, give us some tough teams. Give us Westfield, give us Madison, right? We want to be battle tested to win the playoff, and I get all that. On the flip side, gosh, you got to think, because there's a lot of teams that they would destroy, right? I mean, Braddock is a top tier team, regardless of their record right now. And you wonder, do there are two trains of thought here, right? Also, playing teams that, and you and I talk about this, right? The like team, the top team, and then the bottom team, right? You play one of each. Some teams decide to go all three, top tier teams. Some teams go three, give me three bottom tier teams. Now, I think it is weak when you see a really good team, kind of picking teams that are kind of below its weight class, you would say.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the argument for it, though, right? You'd be in a lot better place if you're playing, you walk into this game 3-0. But I respect that Braddock, though, for taking on these tough opponents, because that's what it's all about. And
now
I'm sure they can rebound. It's a solid team, solid players, veteran players, especially on offense. And as soon as they start clicking, they're that team, actually, you said earlier. They're that team that got hot last year. And they got so damn hot, they went to the state tournament.
Yeah. And this is only, what's really weird is this is only game 2 for West Potomac. Because
you're right. I forgot about that.
This is only game 2 for them. So, they have a chance to go 2-0. They have a chance to kind of put Lake Braddock in the rearview mirror a little bit for them.
Man.
But they lose game. Now they drop to 1-1. They're now a game behind. And they start the Patriot schedule, right? They get Braddock, Robinson, Fairfax. They got Oakton after Fairfax.
Wow.
For West Potomac, and not to look ahead, but they've got some pretty tough games up ahead of them, and they need to collect as many wins as they can.
And a star-studded game, right? I mean, you're talking about weapons all over the place in this game. You got Tyler Jackson, you got the runaway wine truck in Bordeaux,
Bordeaux, Kai Austin.
Yeah, I mean, you're just full of just studs all over the place.
And then they have Payne, right, the defensive lineman that's coming along pretty well.
Right.
Yeah.
You got and then West Potomac. You have a past player of the week. Oh no, a highlight of the week winner.
Highlight of the week. You have Grant Maloney. He's a scholarship lacrosse player they have for them.
He's a stud. He's an absolute stud.
Yeah. Dominic Sanchez, the quarterback.
Sanchez.
I mean, they've got some weapons. They've got
this game. This game could be bombs over Baghdad. This could be just freaking.
It could be
air attack.
Right, but again, West Potomac is the only second team they've seen this season, whereas like Braddock has seen some of the better teams in the region.
Yeah, no. War does things to a man. I mean, they've been through some battles. And so it's going to be. The one thing we don't know too from afar is we don't know injury reports. You brought up South County earlier, and you were talking about how last week the great, the incomparable Carl Frederick told you they had 10 guys out, and in all these games we don't really know, right?
Yeah,
it's not like the NFL, like they're putting the injury report out on Thursday for the media. So I mean, any team we talk about could be missing some key guys, and in high school you miss a couple key guys. That's even in the pros. Heck, that's all she wrote sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh. Man, well, the Sensational Six, not to be confused with Sensational Sherry, who was a great manager, by the way, in the WWF back in the old days. Love Sensational Sherry. Sherry Martel.
Was she the one who used to wrestle Wendy Richter? Was she Wendy Richter's foe?
A little bit, but really Wendy Richter and the Fabulous Moolah went at it.
Fabulous Moolah, that's what I'm thinking of. The Fabulous Moolah.
Fabulous Moolah. But the Sensational Six is the real deal. I can't wait for these games. But wait, there's more. There's some good ones out there. They didn't even make this six. That's how good this six was. There were some elite matchups that didn't even make it. We're gonna get into the best of the rest right now. Best of the rest, buddy. All right. Well, let's start out west. We got a Gainesville team playing Robinson.
Yeah.
Now, once again, that's a former heavyweight matchup once upon a time. Yeah. When you say Robinson versus a team like Gainesville, Robinson's kind of, they took a tough loss last week, but they're going to rebound here. Talk about it.
No, I mean, they're going to see one of the top teams in the region. Get a chance for them again to and I think that's what helped them. And I think playing games like this is what helped them going into district play. And I think once again, I think that'll be huge for them.
I agree with you. I think you're going to see a team like Gainesville with
Coven Smith, right, the running back.
Smith. A team like Gainesville that has Smith at running back, Colton Kilmer.
Kilmer, all right.
So I mean, Gainesville with Smith and then Colton Kilmer. I mean, man, by air, by land, or by sea, right? When you got Gainesville. Now Gainesville is coming off and that game wasn't aired. We couldn't find it. But it was a very close game against Woodbridge.
Yeah. And
it makes you wonder who knows? This could be a dominant Woodbridge team we don't even know about yet. Was a close game. So if you're Robinson, at least you can look at it and say, watching that film, breaking it down, there's something to exploit. There's something to exploit.
Don't forget about Gainesville and a player of the week, Vinny Hill.
Vinny Hill. Yeah. Love Vinny Hill. We got to play the Yakety Sax next time. Vinny Hill has the highlight of the week. We're going to play the Yakety Sax music because you have to.
Yeah.
But Vinny Hill is a stud.
Yeah, he is.
And then you got the Scaparetta brothers out in Robinson. That's like you said. That's going to make Robinson better for playing these tough teams.
Yeah, and who knows, right? Who knows what they'll be able to do, right? And Gainesville played a really close game with Woodbridge.
That's what I'm saying, right? You don't know. All right. Staying on this side of town. We're going to go Annandale at Falls Church. The National Interleague play has begun, my friend.
Yeah. So we are understanding is Annandale's got a pretty good running back. Name escapes me right now, but in Falls Church, I like their quarterback a lot. Should be a pretty good game. I think this may be the week that Falls Church gets off the schneid. I usually don't make a call on this, but I am going to make a call. I'm saying Falls Church gets win number 1 for the season this week against Annandale.
Okay, all right. I mean, your boy Coogan, yeah, it'd be nice, man. Both teams, solid teams. Both teams Starting off their rebuilds this year, and we're hearing good things about both coaches. So
Yeah, absolutely.
keep it up out there. All right, Edison at McLean. McLean had the fell to Chantilly last week. They fell to 2-1. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I think McLean's got a good chance to rebound. But who knows? But Edison's been playing okay football right now, so I think it should be a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean Edison graduated so many guys from the year before. They're still trying to find their footing and find the right combination of guys. It's going to take a little time there because they really did lose a lot of like solid leaders from the year before.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Herndon versus the much improved Wakefield.
Yeah, so I mean, we've heard really good things about Wakefield.
Yeah,
we've heard they got some pretty good athletes. Now Herndon had their giant win against Osborne Park, or was it, no, it was Osborne Park.
Yeah, big win
against Osborne Park last year, and with the tough loss at Langley, they need to keep on garnering up wins, especially with all the undefeateds they have in in the Liberty. But this is a chance for Wakefield. They broke their losing streak. And now my guess is they're probably looking to try to get that first win in the Liberty this week.
All right, Mountain View travels to Centerville. Centerville looking also to get off the schneid after last week's loss.
Yeah, and Mountain View's pretty. I mean, we don't know a ton about them, but from our understanding, is Mountain View's pretty talented.
Solid program.
But Centerville, another team that needs to get a win, because of the district they play in, right?
Right. South Lakes versus Mount Vernon. Both teams, really talented teams, talented rosters. Yeah. They both kind of struggled to get a footing early this year. This is a great
and both coming off of some disappointing losses, right? Mount Vernon.
Yeah, this is a good chance for one of these teams to get off the schneid here.
Yeah. So I mean, it should be pretty interesting. Again, two teams, and especially when you start off slow. You got to start getting wins because I mean we're almost at halfway point.
Yeah,
you're at halfway point, and you don't want to be looking up.
All right, Justice at Langley, another team that Nick Bonacani and the 72 Dolphins are starting to get a little worried about. They're looking over at Langley, looking at Langley's schedule, kind of peeking over who's Langley have. Langley, watch out.
Yeah, I think so. I think Langley definitely is starting to build some distance between them and some other teams.
Yeah,
Justice trying to right the ship a little bit over there. So I think that it'll be a tough hill to climb for Justice, but we'll see if they're up to the task.
All right. So moving out west, young man, go west. They said you'll find gold out there. You'll find gold. Well, you'll find the gold helmets of Hilton. Hilton playing Unity Reed. Hilton and Unity Reed.
Unity Reed coming out that big win against Mount Vernon last week. Hilton struggled a little bit against Osborne, a much improved Osborne team.
Big game for it's a big game for Hilton.
Yeah, big game for Hilton. They won last year. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find what the final was last year. I know they won. I can't remember if they won big or not last year. So
and peeking ahead for Hilton, because Hilton, we predicted Hilton as our dark horse in that conference. That schedule's about to get very unkind to Hilton.
Yeah, they're. I mean, well, it started off with
it started with the doozy. Started with the
pretty tough last year. So they definitely need to find a way. Last year it was an 8-point game, so it was a pretty tight game.
Knowing Coach Van Acker and company and how they do things, I'm sure it'll be a contested battle.
Yeah,
but it's a big game for both teams.
Yeah, definitely trying to establish a new culture there at Hilton. So
right,
we'll see.
Yeah. All right, OP, okay, Osborne Park and Colgan.
So Colgan looks like they're really
solid,
establishing themselves out there. Osborne Park trying to right the ship out there. But it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough one out there. Because Colgan looks like they're definitely contending for a Cardinal District championship.
Yeah. And I think we heard it from the incomparable one, Carl Frederick, when he said that Colgan, look out for them. He was high on Colgan. He liked
Coach Scott a lot, like Richards over there.
So
Yeah.
good call by him. We should listen to him when he was making his dark horse call.
Yeah.
All right. We got Forest Park, round and pound. They looked, speaking of which, there was one of our players of the week last week, right? Landon
Oh,
Hunt,
yeah.
Forest
Yeah.
Park behind that big line against Verina. Don't know much about Verina.
I don't know much about Bryna. I just know Forest Park is likes to run the football. I got to watch a little bit of them against AC, and man, they are just physical. Oh
Yeah, Forest Park is like they're like the Ken Norton, George Foreman, Dave
yeah,
Tua. They're a heavyweight that throws bombs.
yeah,
With
yeah,
that ground game, man. They don't mess with that ground game.
yeah. Well, I mean, they are a simple football team. They are here we come.
Right.
If you can stop it, good luck. If you can't, it's gonna be a long night for you.
Yeah. Potomac versus Osborne. Osborne surprising people a little bit.
Yeah, Osborne. And that was his dark horse in that thing. And
That was his dark horse.
it was his dark horse.
And Frederick.
And so
Frederick had all the inside scoops out there in PW.
He did. So
I mean, Osborne's coming off the win against was that Hilton?
Yeah.
A game that a year ago they lost.
Right.
Hilton. So that's a nice turnaround.
Well, and the thing about Osborne, last year they lost 27-8 to Hilton and 28-8 to Potomac, and they seem to have flipped that score in the first game. Are they going to flip that score in the second game?
Yeah, good. Keep an eye on that one. That's kind of a fun little narrative there. All right, this is a sleeper, and you were kind of excited about this one. Battlefield and Woodbridge. Woodbridge coming off that really close game against Gainesville.
And against Gainesville, I think that says something for Woodbridge.
Yeah, I think so too.
And Battlefield struggled a little bit against Garfield early on. They eventually just kind of came back. I will say this. I think Battlefield might be the best defense I've seen play because man, they are so good up front. They're pretty good defensively. But Woodbridge playing a really tough Gainesville, and I think the one coach who talked about Gainesville said, if they don't win the state championship, I don't know what a state championship team looks like. That Gainesville team was so good.
Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. That means Woodbridge is pretty darn good too. Yeah. And we've been talking all off season, about at the beginning of the year, talking about who kind of gets the what Freedom kind of left behind, right? Like who gets a lot of the key players that are no longer going to Freedom Woodbridge. It looks like Woodbridge could be back as one of the powers out there again.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll see. Freedom South Riding, our friends at Freedom South Riding versus Riverside.
I don't know very much about Riverside.
Now, neither do I, but I do know that Freedom South Riding is playing improved football. I like what they're doing right now.
Yeah. The only Riverside I know is in California, so I don't know anything. But
you're thinking of Bayside, and that's where Zach and Lisa.
I am thinking of Riverside in San Bernardino County. Thank you very much. But
you're thinking of Riverdale, where Archie and Jughead went.
I mix them too? Freedom South Riding definitely trying to build something over there. I hear they got a really good long snapper.
Yeah,
I heard they've got a pretty good long snapper over there.
Let me tell you something.
That's a skill. That's a skill that gets you into college, my friend.
Listen, they don't grow on trees, man. I've seen a couple games this year where some long snappers might have cost our team a couple games. So, I don't take, and especially former special teams coach, don't take that lightly. A great long snapper is worth its weight in gold, my friend.
Frankie D'Amico.
D'Amico's great.
Frankie D'Amico.
D'Amico's great.
And long D'Amico's his name. Long snapping is his game.
Yeah, I know D'Amico. I like D'Amico, and I like long snapping. You got to get down there, and you got to make a tackle too. It's not just snapping.
Yeah,
you got to get down there and make that tackle. Hustle. I like it, man. I like it a lot. All right.
Yeah. And
which, by the way, I was saying, worth its weight in gold, or worth its weight in a certain spice. There's one spice in particular that it's actually worth by weight more than gold.
What spice is that?
Got to be pure. Pure saffron is worth more than gold in weight.
Pure saffron? Is that
saffron? 100%. Look it up. So
I mean,
I watch my Anthony Bourdain, buddy. I watch Bourdain. I watch all the cooking shows. I know all about that.
all right. All right.
You got to look that up. Is saffron worth more than gold? And weight, because remember, it's very light. Saffron. It's very light. All right. Last one. But again, if we did a sensational 7, this might have been the 7th game as far as you were concerned. Patriot and Colonial Ford, 2 heavyweights.
Yeah, those I've gotten a chance to see both those teams play, and both those teams are pretty good. And that's probably, I could see that being a playoff game when we start coming around, right? So this is their chance to, Patriots been beating up on some people, and Colonial Ford has been looking really good. I think that's going to be a pretty exciting matchup.
Yeah, I mean with Tyler Knutson and Jackson McCarter.
Well,
receiver. I mean, they got
540 football. A friend of ours, a friend of the pod, had a preview. They have them as the #1 team in Stafford. Colonial Ford. Yeah. Wow. So I mean that's what they have them as. So I mean, based on
540, you're right. 540 is a big fan. They really are.
Yeah. Based on I'll put this right now. That would be the #1 team according to 540 against my #3 team in my power rankings.
Yeah, I'm giving a shout out to 504 right now. I'm just seeing some of that, and we're gonna have 504.
540.
Why 504? Is that? I don't know why I said 504. I have reading issues, but if you have 540, I'm gonna give 540 some credit right now.
Is that's the area code, right? The area.
504. I don't know. Is it?
Isn't 540 the area? You're from here. How do you not know this?
I'm from here. I'm not from down there. And 703, buddy. I was 703 before there was a 571. I don't even know what 571 is. I don't even know where that came from. 571. 703.
I go up in a place that has a billion what's called prefixes, and I know both of them, and I can tell you where they're from. You can tell you something.
I look down on people that have 571. All right, I'm a 703 guy. OG 703. Kind of 571. I want nothing to do with it.
So I'll be enough. I had my life in California. We were 213, then we were 310, then we were 562. So I in Long Beach, I've had in my lifetime, I've had 3 different area codes. Sorry,
too many people out there. Now look, 540 athletes platform just put a spotlight on best athletes in Fredericksburg, and my older son graduated from Mary Washington, so I do have a little Fredericksburg near and dear to me. I love Fredericksburg. Downtown area is nice and fun. So want to kind of give them a shout out. 540 athletes.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this 540, I don't think we've heard a name. Hit us up, and we'll try to put something together for us. At the midpoints, so we can talk about, because the Loudoun people just ignore us. We have reached out to so many Loudoun people to talk about Loudoun County football, and they haven't talked to us.
No, I mean, maybe they have their own snobby-ish thing going on themselves. I don't know. I told you I looked down on the 571s. Maybe those 571s look down on the 703s. Who knows? But I know if they're out in Loudoun, they might have a 571. They're a little more new school. They ain't old school. They don't have 703. Yeah. I don't know if they have I don't know if they have FM radio out there. All right. The Sensational 6, the best of the rest. We went through it all, my friend. We covered them all, and they all look fantastic.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. We got one last thing, buddy.
Oh, hold on. But so let me just say, this is our top 10, and it's sponsored by. Subscribe to YouTube. That's what it's sponsored by.
Yes.
It's sponsored by us, asking you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Subscribe. Please subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe. Get Santini's to subscribe, and then they can sponsor and they can give us a free sandwich and steak fries and curly fries. All right. This list is an extra 2 days in the making, my friend. We used to come out with this on the Sunday show.
Yeah.
But we wanted to kind of deliberate on it. We wanted to look at it and kind of let it marinate. kind of prepare it, right? Chop it up a little bit. And now this list is impeccable. Impeccable.
Sure. Impeccable is a pretty strong word.
Now, before I get into this list, I'm going to give my shout outs. My teams that are on the cusp, just right there, like Stallone and Cliffhanger, just holding on to the cliff. I got Fairfax. They're right there, ready to bust the door down as soon as one of those teams, are eliminated. Westfield, right there on a bye week, by the way, right there. Oakton, and Coach Slay and all the momentum, hanging on, trying to get into that party. There's a party going on. Those teams aren't invited, but they're on the list. So the next
keep on knocking, but you can't get in.
Little Richard,
come back next week. Try it again.
Little Richard and Herndon. So those four teams are just right on the doorstep, trying to get in. You got any teams?
I do. I got five. I got Lake Braddock. Lake Braddock has dropped out of the top 10. Just too many undefeated teams right now, right? Too many undefeated teams, big wins. I got West Springfield. I still think West Springfield's a really good football team. They unfortunately have just had to play two of the top teams in the area. And they had a bad second half. I thought they had a really good first half. I think if some things break differently, I think they've got a good chance.
Yeah.
I've got Westfield, I've got Herndon, and I've got Fairfax.
Okay, we had some similarities there.
Yeah.
All right, here it comes. Like Dave Letterman's top 10. Here we go, buddy. Number 10. I am going with Chantilly.
Oh, look at that.
Cracks it for the first time, I think. And no, they made it last week, actually. But they're still there, hanging on at 10.
At 10, I got WNL.
WNL. That's the first time, right?
First time for WNL.
Congratulations to WNL. All right, number 9. I will keep it in the Liberty District for you, though. We got, I'm cheating here, but I don't care. It's a co-Liberty 9 with WNL and.
No, you can't do that.
You know what, buddy?
You have violated the sanctity of your top 10.
They're playing this week. That's the beauty of it. One survives, one's getting booted out of the party.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
I did. I totally cheated on that one.
Yeah. So, because I'm not a cheater, my number 9, I got Langley.
Okay. All right. Langley, yeah. All right. Number 8, South County. They're back. They were off the list last week, but we opened that door, let them right back in. They're back in, baby, at number 8.
At number 8, I've got Marshall.
Okay. Yeah, Marshall. Gainesville at number 7 for me. Now, Gainesville fell a lot. That almost, I don't say almost lost, but that close game against Woodbridge, that's going to drop you out. That's going to drop you down a little bit. So they're still in, but that's.
Now I also have Gainesville, but the question is this: if Woodbridge plays Battlefield tough, then we know that it wasn't necessarily Gainesville playing down the opponent. It means that Woodbridge is pretty good.
And that would mean Woodbridge is back, baby.
Yeah.
A lot. All right, number 6, making a huge jump for me. Nick Bonacani getting nervous. Marshall. That's 6.
At 6, I got South County. I was pretty impressed with the way they looked in the second half. They looked really good in the second half, which also means that they jump next week. We could have like a 1 versus 2.
Yeah, it's a big jump. You're right. I like my Marshall pick. I'm telling you, Marshall. All right. Number 5, another Liberty team, Langley. Another team that is making Nick Bonacani and Larry Zonka a little bit nervous right now. Going with Langley. All right. Number 4, Patriot, which you could argue, could be top 2 or 3, but they're at 4 right now.
I've got Battlefield after struggling the first half against a Garfield team that got destroyed.
Yeah,
by Gainesville.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Number 3, this is where things get dicey. Number 3, Hayfield at 3. Now, it's not their fault. They're played Annandale. That's not moving the needle for me, my friend. It's not moving the needle. Now, they're playing a Concord team. They're playing Chantilly. Let's see what they do in that game. Let's see what Chantilly does there. Well, that's a solid middleweight opponent right there. Let's see what they do there.
Got Hayfield at 3? You got Hayfield at 3?
I got Hayfield at 3.
Okay. So at 3, I have Patriot. I have Patriot at 3. They've jumped Battlefield. They are rolling through people. I've got Patriot right now at 3.
Okay. 2, I got Battlefield. I'm impressed with what they're doing. They're just, I mean, have they even allowed any points this season? I mean, my God, they're just steamrolling through people. I know you weren't impressed by, oh, gee, sorry, the first quarter wasn't good enough for you, Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
But
it was the first half, and it's still top 4.
Did they allow a point in that game? Did they allow a first down in that game, my friend?
I don't know. I don't know if they did. I mean, I don't know if they did.
Battlefield looks pretty good. Battlefield at 2.
Yeah. At 2, I have Madison.
I can't argue with that.
So Madison jumped my last time. Madison was at 3. Madison's now at 2.
Okay. Well, Madison for 2 weeks in a row for me is number 1, because when you're playing my number 1, I mean, in Madison, they're just playing tough team after tough team after tough team, and that's kind of what I'm basing it on, and that's kind of why some of the teams kind of dropped or whatever. I know you can make an argument for Hayfield being one of the best. I get it. But Madison's playing these top contenders over and over again.
Yeah. My number 1 team is comes to California. It's Concord de La Salle. Concord de La Salle is my number 1 football team. It's Hayfield. Hayfield is my top team. I mean,
yeah. I get it. Believe me, I get it. I understand. But you got to play. What Ric Flair used to say: to be the best, you got to beat the best.
To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Right. So I just don't. Let's wait and see on that. Now, step in the right direction. Playing a Concord team this week, and they go Patriot again next week, right? In the game of the year, maybe. They will have a chance. The way I'm kind of scoring things, they're going to have a chance to jump up there with a couple convincing wins these next 2 weeks. But let's wait and see.
Yeah. Hayfield's my 1. They're super talented. They're pretty good.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Although, are we making the announcement now on what we're going to be doing next week, or are we waiting for the Sunday night pod to come out, or Sunday pod to come out before we announce what we're doing next week?
Well, we can kind of tease it in a second, but before we tease it, give me your dark horse. Who's? You smell that in the air? I smell a little firewood, a little bit of rain, maybe a little rain, and I smell an upset. I
Have you seen fire and you've seen rain?
I have seen fire and rain, and I'll tell you what. Right now, I'll give you my pick right now, buddy.
Go ahead, give it to me.
So here we go. The saloon, finish that story. The saloon doors kick open. Madison lands a couple shots. Marshall goes down. Madison starts walking away, celebrating. Marshall stands up, hits him over the head with the chair. Madison goes down. Doesn't matter how you do it, buddy. Marshall gets the saloon. That's how the story ends. Marshall with the upset over Madison. All right. They will answer the bell. They might go down early, but they're going to answer the call. Marshall in a huge upset over Madison. You heard it here first, buddy.
Give me Woodbridge over Battlefield.
Wow, Woodbridge over Battlefield. I like that.
Give me Woodbridge over Battlefield.
I would love to know the great Carl Frederick's thoughts on that one, my friend.
Give me Woodbridge over Battlefield.
All right, Woodbridge versus Woodbridge starting to get things going a little bit. Almost pulled off the upset last week.
Let's see. Let's see what the green and gold of the Woodbridge Vikings. The Woodbridge Vikings, I think.
Yeah, Vikings, Saxons, same kind of thing.
No, I don't think so.
They are. They're very similar. Yeah.
So give me Woodbridge.
Wow.
Luckily for me, we know neither Woodbridge teams nor Battlefield people listen to our podcast at all. So
maybe, but Still a bold prediction. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like the prediction. All right, buddy. So teasing a little bit. Teasing next week. We were talking about having, Lee Corso and company and game day morning, right? Well, we're gonna do all Hitches game day. We're gonna go try and go live
from a game somewhere.
That's right. Live. Like Brent Musburger.
Like Brent Musburger.
You are looking live at, you don't know yet, big game next week. I'm not going to tell you right now. We're going to try and go live from that game. We'll have the marching band behind us.
There are some really good games to go live from next week. I know we had talked about it.
Could be any of them.
Oakton, Centerville.
Huh?
Oakton, Centerville would be a good one to go live from.
Yeah, it'd be really good.
Yorktown, West Springfield.
Oh, yeah, that's another good one.
That's another good one, right? I mean,
good ones, buddy.
How about AC and Woodson?
Oh, yeah. Really good one there. The blue field at AC. I love the blue field at AC.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, there's some. We'll
see if people can guess. If people can guess where we could be going live from next week. Now, hopefully that, all the Wi-Fi and all that stuff is able to work and we're able to do that, but we're assuming that maybe we could pull it off. We'll have the table, we'll have the whole thing there. You come over, say hello, get an autograph, stop by, say hi. Yeah. So we'll let you guys know on Sunday's show where we're going to be.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, buddy. So that's it. That's a wrap for our week 4 previews, man. And I can't wait to break all these down.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Some big games, right?
Yes,
sir. Some teams are gonna be scrambling after week 4.
Yeah,
scrambling, right,
buddy.
And some teams are be riding high.
Yep.
Right.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Well, from your all Hitches crew, hope you guys can join us again. Don't forget to subscribe, share with family and friends, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.